Now loading. Zero's Game Room.
Welcome to Zero's Game Room, where all things gaming takes place. Interviews, discussions, and the latest gaming news. So take a seat, get comfortable, adjust your headset, because it's game time. Here's your host, Zero.
Come on in, make yourself comfortable, get nice and cozy because you have just entered Zero's Game Room. I am the host, Zero, and with me as always,
Onpread.
the one, the only sexy man of this podcast.
Yes,
he's
the only one.
The only one. I'm just here because I created this podcast and that's about it.
It's okay. Sometimes you need a little sexiness to bring out the ugliness. That doesn't make sense, but let's go
I'm
on.
like, that makes as much sense as Kingdom Hearts storyline, which we will be talking about in the next episode, because today we're going to be talking about two things. We're going to jump in real quick to the recent Nintendo news, which is Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah, so apparently, I believe they showed this game. Not the game, they showed the JPEG of Metroid Prime 4 with like 2 or 3 years ago. And everyone was like
2 years ago.
Yeah, it was like
at E3.
Everybody was super excited about it, but then they had to come back. And I think they just released it like, I think it was like Tuesday morning or Wednesday morning or something like that.
Yeah, this past Tuesday. I think so.
And it was just a small video. No big announcements. Just like, hey, just to let you guys know, we're not gonna be making this game anymore because it's gonna go to Retro Games Studios.
Right.
And
which, by the way, is the creators of the first 3 Metroid Prime games. So
I think that's going to be really cool. I wonder if they're going to have it like a 2D or 2.5, or they're going to try to go as a 3D aspect.
Well, that's how all the Metroid Prime games have been. They've all been like the first-person shooter type of deals, with Samus going around being a bounty hunter. The thing that makes this interesting, though, is the fact that Nintendo openly goes out and they just said, hey, we messed up. Whatever we're doing, it's not right. Which I'm going to give them credit for, because the past couple Metroid games haven't been that great. We got Metroid Federation Force. That's the one where you guys were like, you team up with other people and it wasn't even Samus in the game. Mm-hmm. And then we had, in like 2015, we had Metroid Other M, which was horrible. It was like a side scroller. It was weird. It was just not right. And then Metroid 2 for the 3DS was fine, but that was just a remake. We've been wanting Metroid Prime, another Metroid Prime game. And the fact that they're openly doing it, there's two sides to this. One, it sucks because they're starting all over. That's like a big kick in the nuts. Just imagine you've been working on something for about 2 years, and now you have to openly admit to the audience that, like, hey, we're starting from scratch.
I think that's a Japanese thing. I mean, at the end of the day, they could have just said, hey, get Kotaku or some like article source. I'm just like, hey, just write that we're not going to do it. We're going to do it to somebody else. I think that's just because of that Japan nature.
I guess the respect.
Yeah. But at the same time, if you know you're making a bad game and you're like, man, I really don't want to release this under the Nintendo brand, I think it's easier just to jump the ship. You're like, hey, it's out of our hands now, we're fine. And I think that's what the route they're maybe going, because they don't have to take responsibility for the past. They have with the past games, but now they don't have to, because they're like, hey.
If anything, you know what? I'm going to take this route, now thinking about it because of what you just said, like how they're like letting it go. One, there's the aspect of retro games. Retro games created the first 3 Metroid Prime games, so now you have a company that like can handle this, or for the most part. I'm pretty sure the team isn't the same, but at least Retro Games has a credibility of making great games. But going back to what you said earlier about like, oh, we don't want it under the Nintendo brand. If anything, I gotta give Nintendo a little bit even more of respect, because how often today do games get released, Fallout 76, where they're just not finished? You know what I mean? There's all these games that come out and they just release it because it's a quick cash grab. For me, I was sucked into Secret of Mana. I loved Secret of Mana growing up, but when it was released, the game was terrible.
Yeah, there was even Atlas, the PC port. There was even Battlefield 5, which they had the game there, but there's so many mods missing. And again, I'm going to give Nintendo, a lot of credit for that. But I really hope they're really hungry for Metroid Prime 4. I really hope that the team is ready to, embrace that beast and say, hey, this is going to take a long time, and if it takes us 2 to 3 years or maybe even 4 years, I think it's going to be
we probably won't see even a trailer till like 2020 at this point, and that's good, because that's just 1 year away. Yeah, that's just 1 year away. That's if. So it does suck, and I get that a lot of people are angry, but I think for the most part, even if you look at the video, that announcement video, there's more likes than dislikes. I think people are more accepting of this because they're like, you know what? It's not like they gave us a trailer already And now it's like, now we're scrapping it. I'm going to give you credit on this one. All they've given us is the JPEG. So,
so I think they're like...
So what do we got to lose? Yeah, it sucks. We won't be getting it for a long time.
Yeah.
But I think they're doing this smart. They're being very open with us because game developers aren't typically very open with the people. It's like, if the game is bad, well, we're going to release it and you're probably going to still buy it.
At least with big companies, though. So, I mean, Nintendo as a brand and as a company... I'll give them props.
I'm going to give them props. Because I know at first I was very upset about it. But you know what? I'm going to, after sleeping on it on a couple days, you know what? I'm going to look more on the positive side of things. Because now I should feel more assured that this game is going to come out more fleshed out. And it'll be better off this way with retro games. And here's to Metroid Prime 4 being really good.
Yeah. And even if the retro studios, if they have new ideas about using the Switch motion controls and stuff like that, then hey, I mean, it's a win-win because I never really seen a lot of motion controls except for like Breath of the Wild, and that used a lot. And again, if they're hungry and they're willing to implement new ideas, then hey, this could be something new for Metro Prime 4.
Yeah, it might be. Well,
or you can just get your experience from Smash Brothers and say, hey, it's a Samus game. Just kill Ryan Ridley.
No. No, I don't think that's good enough. But that's, I guess, our final note on that. Yeah. Knowing that it does suck because your whole project is scrapped, but it's in a more trusting company that has done it before. Like I said, it might not be the same team, but at least it should be better than whatever the hell they were making. And I get Nintendo. I give you props for that, to be open about it. And
the golf clap.
Or the claps after Smash Bros.
Yeah.
You know? Or if you're like Samus, have you seen that video? yeah, exactly. But, so that's enough of Metroid Prime 4. The big meat of this episode is we're talking about the recently released, and honestly, I'm going to just go off and jump into this. It's amazing. Resident Evil 2 Remake. Holy cow. Yeah. Now, to preface this a little bit, I have played a lot of Resident Evil in my life. And Onpread, on the other hand, this is his first little Resident Evil. So I'm going to let you take the lead. And what did you... again, we're going to try to stay spoiler-free as much as possible. What do you think of this game?
Well, first off, you're a nerd. No, I'm just kidding. I think...
I was playing Resident Evil 1 and 2 when I was a little kid, so actually, I'm not a nerd.
Yeah, I was actually the son of the developer who made Resident Evil.
Oh my god, my uncle works for Nintendo.
Yeah. As my first Resident Evil game, I think it's a really good story because the graphics are amazing. I've beat the Leon story and Claire story, and you know what? It has a compelling story to it. I'm surprised that it didn't backtrack on a lot of like different things from if there was anything from the original Resident Evil or maybe hints of the future Resident Evil franchises. It was more like, hey, I think if you're a beginner to the franchise, I think this is a good start. Because it didn't say, hey, remember when, XXX was there and you got died from XXX?
Because you don't remember a lot because you haven't played the other.
Yeah, so I don't know any correlations.
But was there any point in time where you felt like, crap, I should have played this other game to understand it? That's the question that should be answered.
No. It was scary. It's not scary in terms of gore because, I mean, I think there's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
Like, there's blood.
There's blood and guts and ripping. Yeah. I mean, that part was kind of cool, like in the beginning of the game where something happens. I'm not going to spoil what, but somebody dies. Yeah. No, nobody important at the beginning.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, just a regular generic. It's like when
NPC.
See, it's an NPC because at the end of the day, it's like if you've never played Resident Evil, it's about zombies.
Yeah.
Okay, so like, don't be like, oh wow, I didn't know he was going to die. It was an NPC. Like, there's a massacre. Like Raccoon City. The idea is this: you take control as either Leon S. Kennedy, or you take on Claire Redfield, which. Claire Redfield is actually the sister of Chris Redfield. Chris Redfield being the protagonist in the first or part of the first team of Resident Evil 1, along with Jill Valentine and the rest of the gang. But you get to choose each route. I chose Leon first because I love Leon Kennedy, who is actually voiced by a guy named Nick Apostolitis or Apostolides. I'm sorry if we're mispronouncing, but I'm not the biggest fan of his voice acting. I would have preferred the Resident Evil 4 Paul Mercier because that one was just badass. Or Paul Haddad, who did the original Resident Evil 2, but that's just on a side note. But you want to take some?
Yeah, because because I did both stories, and the first one with Leon, I felt like maybe there wasn't good connections, or there probably wasn't good voice acting directing.
Yeah.
Because let's say if there was a big
I think Nick has only had like 3 roles, including Resident Evil 2. So.
And even then, like, there's a future person that you'll meet, and sometimes his
spoiler
reaction.
alert! I'm going through like, see, even though I'm a veteran to Resident Evil, I haven't beat Leon's campaign and I haven't played Claire's campaign. That being said, I'm taking my time, and honestly, life happened, so I didn't have enough time to play it this weekend. But luckily,
I have no life.
But I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not trying to spoil anything. Yeah.
But like, I felt like with Leon's part, his reaction would be, "Oh wow." Let's say just whatever, a big explosion. Ah, oh my God. And then the other person's like, yeah. And I'm like, wait a minute. Sometimes he gets it right, and then the other person won't get it right, and then it mix and matches a lot.
Yeah, Leon's voice actor's not that great.
Yeah, and even with Clara's playthrough, I've never had an instance where it was like, oh, wow, like, what the hell? It was really good voice acting. The only thing I can critique about it is the delivery or the lines that were given to them.
Oh, okay, like what they say.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I felt kind of weak.
Right, okay. The voice actress for Claire is Stephanie Panicello. She did a great job, I personally think, even in that interactions that Leon and her have. Because, they meet each other. But overall, this game, man, holy cow, does this take a lot. See, here's the problem with Resident Evil, or the problem that people have had in recent years with Resident Evil. Resident Evil 1, survival horror. Resident Evil 2, survival horror. Mm-hmm. Both games were very... You actually looked back and looked at what Resident Evil 2 looked like, right?
Yeah, it looked like sin. I was like, wow, people like this game?
Yeah, dude, during that time, 3D, and like you walked like tank controls. To turn around, you didn't have free form, so like... To push, you have to realize, like, some people didn't have like analog control, so the D-pad was everything. So to turn, like, let's say I wanted to go straight, you'd push up, but now if I wanted to go over here to the right, I have to push right, and instead of moving to the right, Leon just stands in place and turns to the right, and then you push forward again. So that's what I mean. There were 10 controls. Here you got freeform, and it's way better. But the problem, I'm not talking about the controls, is what Resident Evil has been doing since Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4 was the big jump. That's when they became this game that was more action-based. It still had horror elements, but it was taking place in Spain, and it was like the zombies weren't really zombies. Like, they looked like humans.
Yeah.
And they could yell Spanish things at you, which was actually kind of funny because I speak Spanish fluently. So I'm like, they want to make me into food.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it wasn't this gory, not these like growls and stuff. They're like, ah. But you were given like an arsenal of weapons. You start off with a pistol. You end up getting a sniper, a shotgun, a rocket launcher. You get an SMG. You get upgraded all these weapons. You get add parts. When you killed zombies, sometimes they would drop gold or ammo.
That's a way different game than Resident Evil 2.
Exactly.
Whoa,
see, since you haven't... Yeah, so killing the zombies was something you had to do. Like I said, it was more action. And you would take on sometimes hordes of the time. Very early on in the game, you're in this town where people were killed and hordes of zombies are attacking you. I'm just talking about like a solid 20 are attacking at you. And you climb up this house, you get a shotgun, you get all these things. You get fire grenades, I just call them. Regular grenades, flash grenades, you get herbs all everywhere. The game became more action-based. You felt like a badass.
That sounds boring.
Also, your carrying capacity wasn't just certain squares.
Yeah.
It was like a briefcase, and if each weapon had a certain amount of squares that would take up in the briefcase. So you could literally, in one run through, by the end, your arsenal could be a pistol, an SMG, a sniper, a rocket launcher, and all these healings and ammo for these weapons all at once.
That sounds broken. With Resident Evil 2, like, there's so many things that you have to collect, and there's only like certain save points that you can, save it, then you have to... You gotta go here, you gotta go there, and then you gotta make sure you don't die. So, like... you wouldn't have more ammo, or we're like, no, I gotta save it. Or like, I can have 4 healing items. Like, no, but I need to save it just in case I find
and Resident Evil 4, you could have 4 healing items and all this other stuff.
That's not existent in this game. Oh no.
No. But yeah, same thing with Resident Evil 5. It was more action packed, and like it was in Africa in the daylight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So, but I mean, I actually really like Resident Evil 5 because if you play online with somebody, it's co-op, and you can go through the entire campaign with a buddy of yours.
Nice, buddy.
We should play it, buddy.
Yeah, buddy. Let's play it.
But no, so with Resident Evil 2, going back on track with this, also we don't talk about Resident Evil 6 because it was really bad. Resident Evil 7 was really good, but still. Resident Evil 2, it's this survival horror.
Yeah.
I don't think throughout my gameplay of this, I've never felt so, not insecure, but just so tense.
Yeah.
I never feel safe.
And when I was looking at the original Resident Evil 2, you can always get away from zombies by the loading doors. Because whenever you enter a door, there's a loading screen. So if there's 3 of them coming at you, you go through a door, you're fine. But with this game, like, you can't do that.
They can open doors.
Yeah, and I give props to the sound team. The sound team did a really good job making it creepy. And the door sound effects.
Yeah.
Or the
I know when they're smacking on the door.
And I'm like, gosh damn it. Yeah.
Like, you never feel safe. And that's what I like about this game. It went back to its roots. Very tense, scary. And there's always this sense of, because like you start off only being able to carry like 8 items. Obviously, you find these packs that let you add 2 more squares.
Yeah.
But you're always trying to manage, what do I take? What do I not take? What am I going to need? There's so many aspects. Do I take an extra board or 2 so I can board up a glass window? Do I take this healing item? Do I put this gunpowder away?
Yeah.
How do I manage all this? You're always in this mindset of like, you're always iffy of what you take, where you go. And in this game, if 2 or 3 zombies are in the same room, you might as well crap your pants.
Yeah, you might as well waste whatever ammo that you have. And the thing I like about this game, in the beginning, you're helpless, and you're just like, man, I only have a certain amount of bullets. Later in the game, you get extra guns, and you get different variations, but that doesn't mean you're home free. That doesn't mean you can kill them like a badass. You're like, no.
No, because now you have to carry the ammo for that gun, and it takes up a whole entire square.
And sometimes some of these upgrades, especially for Claire, like, they could take up 1 square, but then they'll take up 2 squares. I'm like, that's not an upgrade, that's a damn downgrade.
Right,
like,
exactly.
Like, damn it.
And then, like, sometimes it's not like any other future Resident Evil game, or the past ones, I guess, because they came out before this one. When you kill a zombie, you don't get anything. You don't get money. There's no shops.
Oh, no.
There was a guy that whenever you went to save, there was a guy there, you could buy upgrades and stuff from him.
What?
And power up your weapons. Like, you could upgrade your weapons, like faster reload speed, strength, and
hell no.
And firing. Yeah, no, that's not in this game.
No.
This game literally throws you in, and you have to survive. You have to think with your wits. Sometimes the best plan of action is like, should I waste like these bullets on carrying these 3 guys, or should I just pass through them since I've been here?
And
for the most part, I've actually avoided some fights.
Like, even the range on some of these animations on the zombies, they're pretty wide.
Oh my gosh.
Like, with I'm not sure if you played a Dead Rising or Dead Rising 2.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, like, I know, but like with the animations,
they just
of
whack
the zombies,
over, they just fly around everywhere.
Yeah.
And this one, you shoot them in the head, they react, they toss their head back, and then they slowly,
and like, it doesn't matter if you put like 5 shots in them, they'll still get back up.
Oh, I know.
And the animation's wide again for them to grab you, so you're like, damn it, like, I gotta make sure if I can corner around or kite them or do something.
This is not one of those games where if you just shoot at the head, sometimes you'll get some insta kills in the head. Sometimes
that's lucky. I don't know how that.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened to you too. Because sometimes I'd shoot a guy like 3 or 4 times in the head,
nothing,
and then nothing, and then other times, boom. So like, I guess it was a crit, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know. But sometimes for the, like, you think Resident Evil, just shoot him in the head. No, you got to shoot him like 4 or 5 times before it goes down. So then you're asking yourself, do I risk it? Do I not? And then, this is not a spoiler, people. This is the only thing we're going to get when it comes to story-wise. Tyrant, a.k.a. Mr. X, is in this game.
That is scary.
Dude.
So there's a part in the game where you can go, I mean, yeah.
Is it revealing story much?
No, but there's a part in the game where you have to leave the mansion. You're forced to leave, the police department. And when you do, there's a way that you can come back to it. And you realize that when Mr. X isn't there, a lot of the tension is gone. And, like, gameplay-wise, he's a very needed character. He's a very needed element that makes you hurry up in that tense fight when sometimes you already explored it, so when you're just trying to get the scraps of, like, those upgrades, you're like, man, this is kind of easy now. And it really shines a revelation, like, wow, like, they needed this because it makes you feel intense and you have to hurry up, because when you try to go back, it's just like, no.
For those of you who don't know, Mr. X appeared in the original Resident Evil 2, and he is unkillable.
Yeah, that scared me the first time. I was like, oh, okay, well, I could just shoot him a couple times. No, he's not. He's like,
no, you can't do anything. You have to run. And he just, the clanking of his boots, everything. And you played it on PC, right?
Yes.
So did you play with headphones or speakers?
I played with headphones. Oh, by the way, if you play with a mouse and keyboard, how dare you? Because I got a huge headache from that. It lacks controllers, but yeah, I played with headphones, and you really need it. You really need that. You really need.
I honestly
stereo.
say, like, this is not one of those games where you just play it out of the TV. This was because I usually play off the sound off of my TV, and that's fine, like for Smash Bros or any other game. But this game, I wanted to, so I grabbed my nice professional headphones,
my bad.
my studio ones that I use when I record at home, and I plugged it into my PS4 controller, and dude. You could hear where they're at.
Yeah.
It's 3D sound. Like, if a zombie's to your left and to the back, you'll hear it creeping up on you. The clanking of the boots, the banging of the doors. This game, you never feel safe. You're always on the edge. And honestly, I've played horror games before. I've played, what was it? Dead by Daylight or whatever it's called. Until Dawn.
Okay.
Until Dawn. I've played Fear. Those games never immersed me like this did. This made me feel like when I was a little kid, especially at night, headphones in, it's just you trying to survive against these zombies. And then Mr. X just clanking those boots right behind you.
Honest to God, I really feel like this game should get the best sound design, no matter what.
Holy crap.
If there's another game that can challenge that, I'll be impressed, because this game does a lot to it. Even, there's just... different rooms have different soundtracks. It sounds stupid, but sometimes they'll just throw in some like elements. They'll throw like clanking of
there's just all these things, and then the theme for Mr. X when he's around, dude.
Yeah, it's
in the
intense.
game you just get tense. Like there was actually a point where I had to put the controller down. And
I'm literally shaking.
I'm not joking. Really? I was literally scared, and I was like, okay, this is a video. I was just so immersed in the world that they've created for me. Yeah.
Damn. Like, this game is really good. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I know we're going a little long on this one, but this is one of those games that just deserves this. It is so damn good for survival horror. You will be on the edge of your seat. You will. This is not a game that you're going to go in, unless, of course, you've had years and you play this game multiple times and you know all the things. Yeah. Like I said, there is some factors that eventually you lose that scare factor, but when you first... Holy cow, man. Jump scares.
I think it's worth the $60 that it's asking for. And the only microtransactions that they have is the different costumes, which honestly, you don't need.
You don't need them.
And I don't feel compelled to have them.
No. Really same cool. thing. I think Chris. Oh my god. I was going to say Chris Redfield.
Whoa.
I think Leon looks great the way he does in the cop suit, so I'm okay with the character design and everything. The only thing, like I said, that I think is weak, and I would give it like a 9 out of 10, is just the voice acting and the writing. Like, some of it's unneeded, but...
Yeah, like, I think I said to you this before, like, if I had $1 for every time they said, go on without me, I'm injured, go on... I would be a rich boy. I would be a very rich boy.
Not only that, this game's puzzle solving is another layer. In future games, puzzle solving is as simple as move this here or do a couple things. Like, as it goes on, the puzzles are gone. In this game, puzzles are in full effect. You need certain items to open certain doors. In future Resident Evils, that doesn't exist, bro. You just go.
Really?
You just kill.
What?
The emphasis is on the killing, not puzzle solving.
Even
like, at all.
I think it's more intense with Mr. X, because you have to solve it quick, or else, and you're like, no.
And then you need certain key items, and then even the items themselves, you have to examine to get certain things out of them. That doesn't exist in future Resident Evil games.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
That's what I'm saying.
This is like the best Resident Evil game, then.
Well, it's your first one.
Well, I'm saying for you.
Play 4. Play 4. You'll love it.
Okay.
Play it on PC with some mods and stuff to make it look pretty, because otherwise... Anywho, we've gone on way longer than we usually do, but at the bottom line, this game is very tense. It's very creepy. It's something you need to play with headphones on at night.
Yes.
Trust me. This game, if you're a person who loves horror movies, not for the gore, but just that tense, this game is full of it.
I think you should complete the game. I think you should do both story runs, because it honestly makes a big difference. Because looking at Claire and the way that you meet her, you're like, oh, well, she's in this game? I forgot about her. And then when you play her story makes sense and how everything connects. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say 100 complete everything.
Because there's different scenarios. Because typically you can go through a run-through, typically. Just on average, people go 5 or 6 hours for each campaign. So you think it's not worth it. But there's replayability, there's different scenarios, different things. And it all depends if you're just doing the story or you're actually going back to get all the items, all the goodies and whatnot.
Yeah.
Because, like, there's some rooms you just never have to visit again if you really don't want to. But if you find the secret keys to the button of that certain room, you get more upgrades and stuff.
I would definitely say complete it. Play the first run and the second run. Doesn't matter who you play. It's a really good game.
All right, I think that wraps it up pretty well. Resident Evil 2 Remake gets definitely a high score. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
I'll give 9 out of 10.
Yeah, 9 out of 10. It's freaking solid. If you love horror, definitely check it out. And while you want to check something else out, make sure to check us out on Twitter at Zero's Game Room. Yeah, you saw it?
Yeah.
Again, our podcast is posted now on Podbean. It's also on YouTube at Zero's Game Room and at Zero's Gaming Room on Facebook.
And Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to be our next podcast.
Woo! You need to learn a lot about Kingdom Hearts, buddy.
Buddy, what's a Heartless?
Oh, we're going to have fun.
Am I nobody? I don't understand.
Until next time, this episode of ZGR is officially closed. You really don't know what a Heartless is?
I mean, that's what my ex-girlfriend called me.